Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely massive, heavily encrypted moment in biblical history straight from the Zohar. We're going to take these ancient, deeply mystical concepts and actually translate them into a modern networking framework. We've got a ton of ground to cover in the next few minutes, so let's just jump right into the transmission.
I want you to set the stage in your mind, like cinematic 4K heritage detail. Picture this. Royal Egyptian wagons are rolling across these dusty red desert sands. They're totally laden with the immense treasure of Egypt, and their massive wooden wheels are echoing like ancient secrets across the dunes. And there's Jacob, an ancient patriarch who has literally been mourning the death of his beloved son for 22 years, just gazing upon them. And suddenly, the text tells us, his spirit stirs. He awakens. As the Zohar puts it, and he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent, and the spirit of Jacob their father revived. But hold on, we have to pause here for a second. A bunch of ancient wooden transport vehicles shouldn't instantly cure decades of deep, paralyzing trauma, right? There is clearly something much deeper happening beneath the surface of this scene.
So, let's get right into Section 1, the mystery of the wagons. We aren't just looking at some quaint historical story here. We are decoding a multi-layered cosmic transmission. The big question is, why did these specific wagons revive Jacob? Well, if you look at the surface of the text, there's a really striking anomaly that the Zohar zeroes right in on. If you read the narrative closely, it was actually Pharaoh who commanded the wagons to be sent. Pharaoh provided the transport. But as the Zohar reveals, Joseph completely embedded a hidden, subsurface protocol right within Pharaoh's royal decree.
And you are commanded, this do, take for yourselves wagons. Now, the Zohar points out the incredible precision of this phrasing. Joseph was literally hijacking the Egyptian transport system. He was taking Pharaoh's logistical supply chain and turning it into a carrier wave for his own personal message. In modern tech terms, Joseph basically took standard royal transport and turned it into encrypted data packets. This was a direct point-to-point transmission meant exclusively for the intended receiver, Jacob. Anyone else looking at this, they just saw wooden carts. But Jacob saw code.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding the Egla Arufa.
To really decrypt this, we have to bridge these physical Egyptian wagons to an incredibly dark, mysterious, and ancient ritual. I want you to imagine a ghostly visual overlay of a desolate, totally silent valley. This is the ritual of the Egla Arufa, or the broken-necked heifer. When a slain traveler is found in a field and the murderer is completely unknown, the elders of the nearest city have to bring a heifer down to a rough valley and, well, break its neck. Why? It's to atone for unknown bloodshed, specifically because they let a traveler leave their city without an escort. The Zohar teaches that this intense ritual appeases strict judgment and prevents destructive spiritual interference from gaining power over that unknown source.
And guys, here is where the cryptography just clicks into place. Joseph is sending Jacob a very specific message. I remember the last Torah topic we studied before I disappeared. It was the Egla Arufa. You see, when Joseph left Jacob all those decades ago, Jacob actually sent him away without an escort. And mind-blowingly, the Hebrew word for wagons, Agalot, phonetically and thematically mirrors the word for the heifer, Egla. This is the tikkun, the cosmic patch, the ultimate correction. By sending the Agalot, Joseph proves his identity beyond a shadow of a doubt. And even more importantly, he's actively neutralizing the evil spirits of exile, performing a profound spiritual correction for that broken connection between father and son.
Let's dive into Section 3, Sephirotic Mechanics and Encrypted Data.
In the ancient system, these wagons aren't just mere carts. They actually represent the Merkava. Think of it as a divine chariot, or a channel, basically pushing divine flow straight through the oppressive spiritual darkness of the Egyptian exile. Honestly, you could say these ancient mystics were the world's very first network engineers. Because in our modern analogy, this is a highly secure data transport system. Joseph is literally embedding diagnostic and restorative layers across a distributed network just to make sure his payload actually survives the incredibly hostile environment of Egypt. So, let's map this network out. The sender, Joseph, embodies Yesod, the foundation. The receiver, Jacob, embodies Tiferet, beauty and harmony. The medium for this entire transmission is the wagons, acting as those Merkava channels. And the payload? The payload is the ultimate reconnection of that broken Torah bond. Basically, Yesod is taking structured signals and transmitting them all the way back up to Tiferet, perfectly bypassing all the heavy spiritual interference of the exile.
If we actually analyze the data packets Joseph sent, we see 3 distinct layers that only Jacob had the cryptographic key to decode. Layer 1 is a basic status update. I am alive, and I have retained the covenant. I am still Yesod. Layer 2 is a warning. The descent into the Egyptian exile is now initiating. Prepare yourself. And Layer 3? That's the authentication key, the highly specific memory of the Egla Arufa. Only Jacob possessed the matching key to unlock this memory. And the moment that encryption unlocked, Jacob's spirit revived. The network was fully restored.
I really want you to notice the intense visual contrast happening here. You've got the dusty, deep red of the Egyptian exile, which perfectly represents strict judgment and dark concealment. But slicing right through all that red dust are these brilliant flashes of pure white encoded light emanating right from within the wagons. It is this stunning visual of red concealment being completely and utterly shattered by the pure white transmission of Yesod.
Which brings us to Section 4, Exile as a Vehicle.
It's super fascinating how we constantly see the number 2 associated with these wagons. They represent the dual worlds, right? The physical and the spiritual. And furthermore, the root word of Agalot actually means cycle or round. So it represents the integration of this energy into the circular flow of the 10 Sephiroth. The whole system is literally looping back on itself to heal. But right here, the Zohar reveals a much darker hint. The Zohar quotes the prophet Jeremiah, saying, "Egypt is a very fair heifer. Egla Yefifia Mitzrayim." The Zohar directly links these physical wagons, the Agalot, to the inevitable future subjugation of the Israelites under the mighty Egyptian empire. The wagons are essentially a sign that Israel is now entering the belly of the beast. The long, dark descent into exile has fully begun.
And this brings us to a massive, mind-bending paradox. The exile itself actually becomes the ultimate vehicle for their future redemption. Think about it. The wagons aren't just transport into exile. They are the actual tikkun vehicle driving them through it. By bringing the wagons, Joseph is ensuring that the divine presence, the Shekhinah, descends right along with them. They're eventually going to achieve total mastery over Egypt precisely because they arrived in the vehicle of redemption.
Let's wrap this up in Section 5, Cosmic Engineering and Synchronization. If you're a gamer, just pitch this scenario to yourself as an epic video game. Joseph is basically dropping loot crates, the wagons. These are mysterious transport units containing a payload of hidden clues that unlock the essential backstory of the Egla Arufa. And this progression, it unlocks the future levels of the entire cosmic campaign, ultimately leading to redemption. The main objective here is literally a healing mission for broken timelines. Joseph is successfully patching a 22-year-old glitch in the Matrix. Let's just rapid-fire through this cosmic engineering table to cement these Sephirotic mechanics into a super easily digestible framework. Layer 1 is diagnostic. It checks the connection status. The Sephirotic equivalent? That's Jacob verifying Joseph's survival. Layer 2 is corrective. It patches those broken protocols. And that is the tikkun, the deep correction of the Egla Arufa. Finally, Layer 3 is synchronizing. It aligns the network nodes, and that is Yesod beautifully merging with Tiferet. The foundation is finally resecured to the heart. The spiritual network of the patriarchs is officially back online. We really want to drive home this final, profound takeaway for you today. When you look at this text, you have to remember those Egyptian wagons were definitely not just carrying physical treasure. They were actually carrying the structural integrity of the Jewish soul directly into the darkest possible exile. This ancient tikkun, this encrypted data packet, is what ensured their survival. And honestly, it provides the exact blueprint for how we can maintain our own connection in our own modern exiles today. Before we wrap up, I want you to ask yourself, what hidden signals are currently embedded in the exiles or the challenges of your own life, just waiting for you to decode them? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.